out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
It's the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th at the Sandhills Global Event Center in Lincoln. Come see trophy deer, hunting seminars, hunting and outdoor exhibitors, a 3D archery tournament, enter the blind giveaway, and more. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate, January 16th, 17th, and 18th. Learn more at nebraskadeerandgameexpo.com and find them on Facebook. Come to the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, a few sprinkles possible this afternoon. Otherwise, probably sunny and breezy. The high near 48. Tonight, mainly cloudy, a continued breeze, a low around 30. And tomorrow, a chance of snow. Otherwise, mainly cloudy. It'll be windy and colder. A high near 36. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fleck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Bock and the Blackshirt.
Terrell Farley, defending Terrell Farley, who last week in his first start was a holy terror, number 43.
And Jake Bockoven. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Powered by Bauer.
Welcome to Bock and the Blackshirt here on 93.7 The Ticket. It is Thursday, January 15th, 2026. I don't know why sometimes I want to say 2016. I wish I could go back.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back all the way to 1995 with this transfer portal and NIL. But, Bock, one more day before the transfer portal closes.
That's right. Nebraska is actively trying to get some folks on campus, I know. So we'll see. Remember, a reminder again, when the transfer portal closes tomorrow, that does not mean that you have to be committed by then, but you are going to want to kind of hurry up the process if you want to get in for the semester. So we'll kind of see different schools obviously start at different times, but Nebraska specifically bringing in a 330-pound Terrence Green from Oregon on Sunday. That is, if all goes well, they've got Alabama visit Friday, a Cal visit Saturday. So sometimes you line up 3 visits, you don't make it to all of them.
Hopefully he make it.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully he makes it.
Well, hopefully he can get in school too, Bach, because, school start this week. So, these guys miss an extra week or so of school, but who cares about school when you make $1 million?
Yeah.
So you got to know about that. Bach, too many things are going on with college athletics when we talk about with football, we talk about NIL. Now, with basketball, we had this start last year in a trend. Now it's trending more. More than 20 college players are charged in point shaving scheme.
Yeah, it's definitely somewhat of an ugly day there for college basketball. And unfortunately for former Husker Kevin Cross was actually a part of this too from his time at Tulane. So, yeah, 20 men have been charged in a point shaving scheme involving 39 basketball players on 17 NCAA Division I teams, leading to 29 games being fixed, according to the federal indictment unsealed Thursday in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. The scheme, according to the 70-page indictment, began around September of 2022, was initially focused on fixing games in the Chinese Basketball Association, but the group later targeted college basketball games here in the States, offering bribes ranging from $10,000 to $30,000 to compromise games for betting purposes. 4 of those players are still active, have played games in the last week. So that's kind of interesting. You're looking at the teams including Abilene Christian, Alabama State, Buffalo, Coppin State, DePaul, Eastern Michigan, Fordham, Kennesaw State, LaSalle, New Orleans, Nichols State, North Carolina A&T, Northwestern State, Robert Morris, St. Louis, Southern Miss, Tulane, So a lot of teams involved there. As for the former Husker himself, Kevin Cross, again, was named in the scheme in mid-February of 2024. He was reportedly offered $30,000 to make sure Tulane did not cover the spread versus East Carolina. East Carolina was favored to win by 2.5. Cross scored 6 points in that game. For the season, he averaged 17.5. So not a good look there. And East Carolina defeated Tulane 81-67. Reportedly, though, another attempt to fix the game with Cross was unsuccessful. Cross is currently, by the way, playing in China professionally.
All right, Bob, when you talk about the offering bribes to college kids for ranging from $10,000 to $30 to compromise games for betting purposes, I don't think there's no way to fix this part when you talk about this problem, because when you allow gambling at a level for athletes, it takes the fun out of competitive sports, especially college basketball, because you don't know what's going on. Now, I know at the University of Nebraska, we don't have that problem because we're 17-0, and we're trying to stay 7 or more above 17-0.
Yeah.
So this is more about basketball for us here at Nebraska, because but when I read this box, it makes me it's kind of sickening, because with all these betting apps they have now, it's more possible than one way to try to cheat.
Yeah, it certainly is. And obviously the NCAA has been trying to come down on this as much as they can. I'm sure this will get a whole nother group of that going and try to block out some of this stuff. But it's out there. I mean, Nebraska's not directly been involved, but again, have had the Aaron Eula situation over at Iowa, kind of travel with it back over to Nebraska. And so, it's unfortunately, there's been a few connections there, but not to anybody playing while at the University of Nebraska. Thank goodness for that. But to your point, I mean, it's just kind of overall, I mean, it's definitely point shaving and manipulating games has been going on, at least in my mind, and maybe further back, but kind of back to the 80s where they're kind of isolated examples of this. So it's not all just based on the new availability of it, but it certainly that highlights, especially you can get on your phone, download an app and then you're there, a bigger problem and a possibility there. But again, this is not a small, player manipulating thing. This is a group, again, going after and getting to college athletes and offering substantial amount of money, $10,000 to $30,000 again, to make these to make these bets. And again, when you're doing that, again, they're not making small bets. I think on the Kevin Cross example, the adults that got to Cross to get him to do this were betting $200,000 on the game or somewhere upwards of that. So it is a problem. Obviously, it's you just hate to see it happen in any sport. But this is a big group. I mean, this is a lot of teams, a lot of players involved. Obviously, none of those teams I mentioned kind of at the Power Four level are kind of the major conferences that we think of. But yeah, this is probably going to get uglier with the details of it before it gets better, and hopefully they can clean it up as best they can. But like I said, I mean, this is point shaving's been going on and schemes have been going on for a long time. And unfortunately in basketball, it's a kind of a game that is more easy to do that, right? If you can get to a player who, again, Cross's example is really good. If you can get to a player that averages 17 points, tell him, hey, there's $30,000. And then if you can kind of underperform a little bit tonight and kind of guide your team to manipulate the game a little bit, it's just very accessible and easier to do and go undetected, just because, as we know, guys can just have an off night. You need teammates to step up, that sort of thing. So it's definitely an ugly situation, and probably not going to be easier to handle, as you mentioned, kind of going into the modern age.
All right, Bob, last week at this time, we had six unbeaten basketball teams. Now, three
teams.
With the loss to Michigan, Iowa State, and Vandy last night, there's only three left. That leaves Nebraska, Miami of Ohio, and Arizona. Bach, with the losses that Vanderbilt suffered, the loss with Michigan suffered, and Iowa State suffered, how far do you expect Nebraska to climb up the rankings?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, they've got to take care of business themselves this week against Northwestern. It would be troublesome if that is where the end happens. Again, and obviously for any of these teams, you lose your first game, not all is lost. There's plenty more to fight through. Vanderbilt's still a very good team, but again, did lose that game last night. Potentially, you could definitely see them start to move up the board. I think the longer it goes into the season, obviously, it is an important question because number 8 is the highest Nebraska's ever been, where they are right now, and ties the previous high. So if they can get up a little bit higher, definitely could be celebrating. And it depends partially kind of what polls and who you're talking to, right? Because I said last week before the AP come out, I didn't know if they were going to rise up because the teams in front of them hadn't lost. And then you start to kind of do all these resume comparisons. In the coaches poll, they didn't. They went from, well, I guess they did one, but they didn't jump too much higher from 11th to 10th in the coaches poll, but they moved up from 10th to 8th this past week. So, I mean, I and again, the other thing is some of these big brands, that are in front of them, and Nebraska's, of course, in front of a lot of big brands now, but the Purdue's, the UConns, the Iowa States, Dukes, that some of these teams that have won losses, they play a lot of really good competition early in the non-con. Not that Nebraska didn't play good competition, but it's in college basketball, especially those blue bloods, get out and play each other early. So it's interesting to see how it compares. But at a certain point, if you just keep going undefeated, it's going to be hard to keep you down, and that's where Nebraska is in the conference that they're in. Maybe one of the best, if not the best, conference in college basketball. Arizona. They're number 1. They're the only Miami, Ohio. The other undefeated team's not ranked because they call it quite a competition that they've played so far. So Nebraska can perhaps. I do think that they will continue to move up, and it doesn't necessarily need to be from teams losing behind them. That's what I'm interested in. Do they jump Michigan or Iowa State? Not sure, but I think it's undeniable at a certain point. Some of these one-loss teams, as Nebraska builds their resume, starts to compare favorably to them. Arizona, by the way, a close enough game, I suppose, last night with in-state rival Arizona State outlasted them 89-82. Not calling the upset, but they've got a pretty good team against UCF, a 14-2 team that they play coming up next year on Saturday at UCF. So who knows? I mean, and then if Arizona falls and Nebraska's the sole kind of power conference team near the top, then I don't know how you argue them anything but number 1, right?
Isn't it just strange to see at when you look at the top 10 in men's basketball, you see Nebraska sit there at 8. I mean, it's like, hold on, you have to do a double take because the thing about Nebraska is we've been a football school for so long that it overshadowed every other program. Now you got basketball at its highest peak in years. You got volleyball still at its high peak. Women's basketball at a higher peak. Softball is at a higher level. Wrestling is at a higher level. It makes me wonder if does football even I'm just not matter about, but how can it go from being the number 1 sport at this university probably to number 5 now when you look at it?
Well,
they may be the big money makers, but when it comes to ranking and success, these other sports at the University of Nebraska need to get their flowers.
They absolutely do, and they have been, and I appreciate it, and especially here at 93.7 The Ticket, an ability to highlight some of those programs and maybe raise them up a little bit more. Obviously, volleyball has kind of done it on its own right over the years. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to see. It's also a little bit frustrating that football can't come along. Again, Matt Rule would argue you've made strides. They were at a very dark spot, and now so you make those strides, and maybe it takes a little bit longer to build in football. Obviously, the other thing is a lot more competition there as far as dollars, right? And I think to a degree, Nebraska football fans, I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but being humbled a little bit about where Nebraska is in the football world, right? I mean, even if you tell us you have all the money in the world to spend in the transfer portal class is solid. It's just not, moving mountains or anything like that. So I think it's tough uphill climb for Nebraska football And of course, it's been, a slow drop over the years.
Well, you have to look at other programs, Bach, when you talk about Nebraska football. Sometimes you have to copy other people's success to get to that point. And you can't do it on your own. Football is not okay, I'm going to do it my way type of sports, because sometimes your way is not the best way. Sometimes you have to copy a Kurt Signetti. Sometimes you have to copy a Nick Saban. Sometimes you have to copy a Dan Landon, Ryan Day, Kirby Smart. If you want to be like the top teams, maybe you got to practice like the top teams. You got to recruit like the top teams. Because to me, I feel like we're stuck in neutral. Like we're not going anywhere. We went up, we came back down, and it feels like we're still probably a middle of the road Big Ten team. And when I say middle, I mean from 10 on down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to argue. Again, 7-win seasons. The first one was celebrated. The second one, not so much, because you do want to see Nebraska move up. Again, you kind of look at it and as I try to dive through the different, ideas of why these other programs might be rising, Nebraska football not. Again, part of it is roster. I mean, how many of these other from bowling to volleyball to basketball and all these the rosters are significantly smaller. So maybe kind of getting a few elite players in, or in certain cases just the right combination in, maybe a little bit easier than obviously the giant rosters that college football requires. Like I said, I think competition is a part of that. The other thing, though, too, and as a part of a thanks to the football program, again, the straw that stirs the drink around Nebraska and at most other places in the landscape but Nebraska's done a good job, and we could say this having gone to wrestling. I know, going to the bowling practice as well. A lot of these places are, their facilities for their sport is very high and very, very good, and just the presentation Nebraska puts on. Over at the Bob Devaney Sports Center for a lot of things. I mean, volleyball, obviously the case. Bowling, we talked to Coach Klempa. He said they probably got the best facilities. And so the list kind of just goes on and on there. Nebraska football, well, they have great facilities, and there's nothing to argue with that. That's where a lot of the universities are kind of putting their money in, right? So it's more comparable Nebraska facilities to the top facilities around the country, where I think some of their top facilities in those other sports, you can kind of look down at some of the competition there.
Buck, I could go to a college with one shower. I don't care if it's 105 guys in front of me. As long as we win, nobody cares about facilities. Only people who care about facilities are the people who are in that building every day. I don't care about them. Some players don't care about them. They want W's. That's why we don't get the players that we need, because we're more concerned about how it looks on the outside and not handling business on the inside of it, Bart.
Well, I mean, I think it helps. It can. You want to stay up in the arms race, right? You don't want it to just fall beyond. But again, everybody's got facilities now, so it's not, as nice as Nebraska's facilities are. Everybody's kind of got that. Illinois just, I talked to you off here the other day. Illinois just made an announcement. They're going to have the biggest screen in the nation at their home field. That's Illinois.
Yeah.
So it's just everybody's going to be in that arms race, and you better be at least in the arms race. Otherwise, it might cost you a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing right now is you're looking at football and making your decision. Is wins, is moving me to the next level, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, NIL, that sort of stuff kind of comes in.
Do you think Indiana University looks better than Nebraska when you talk about win? I mean, when you talk about the
facilities,
highly
doubt it. I thought Mark Cuban might change that in your future, but yeah.
Take 5 years, Bob, but I can guarantee you, Indiana is not way better than what we got. They don't have comparatively nothing to what we got. But when we talk about facilities, USC is opening up a 3-story building for the athletic department. And when the looks of it, Bach, it looks nice. I don't know if you've seen it, but hey, it looks nice.
I haven't seen it yet, but again, I think every school, especially Big Ten schools, SEC schools, a lot of the money and those TV contracts heading toward these schools. And that's the idea, is that, from one year to next, and we've seen the Big Ten obviously rise in college football, might be kind of see small changes from the middle of the Big Ten, the middle of the SEC, now toward the bottom. But over time, right, it's like compounding interest. Compounding interest is, that's what makes you the money. It's not 1 year of a deposit. And that's kind of the same thing here. As the Big Ten and SEC continue to make more money year after year after year and can kind of, create these facilities. And so that's why, when Nebraska joined the Big Ten, there were some teams that the Big Ten had a rule where they didn't play it. There were some teams that didn't have lights on their stadium.
Yeah, they was only daytime school.
They were daytime games. Now, as you kind of move forward here, they should be, all these different schools should be able to compete with the elites of college football because of the investment that they've made and the return that they're getting from being in these conferences.
All right, Bock, let's go to break. And I'm going to tell you what's missing from some college teams when we come back from break, Bock. This is a lesson that kids need to understand why you need to stay at one school for all 4 years. 93.7 The Ticket. Bock in the Black Shirt. We're powered
by
Bauer.
Infrastructure.
Bauer.
Underground. Excavating.
Shout out to the Bauer crews out there working hard throughout the Lincoln and Omaha areas. Bock in the Black Shirt. We'll be right back.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
It's the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th at the Sandhills Global Event Center in Lincoln. Come see trophy deer, hunting seminars, hunting and outdoor exhibitors, a 3D archery tournament, enter the blind giveaway, and more. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate, January 16th, 17th, and 18th. Learn more at NebraskaDeerandGameExpo.com and find them on Facebook. Come to the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th in Lincoln.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O. Tired of your furnace running overtime this winter? Let Heartland of Nebraska Windows save the day. Upgrade to stunning, energy-saving triple-pane vinyl windows installed by their team of experts. Every window comes with a lifetime warranty on everything, all for a price you can actually afford. Free estimates, flawless replacements, and peace of mind from a family-owned business you can trust. Don't wait. Call Heartland of Nebraska Windows at 402-430-3852 or visit heartlandofnebraskawindows.com today.
Hi, Charlie Stone here, and it's that time of the year again. Time for the annual Happy Honda Days at Honda of Lincoln. With me on the line, Andy Goodyear, to tell us all about it.
The exciting news is we have more selection and more savings. We have over 400 new 2025 and 2026 Hondas to choose from, with a great opportunity to get year-end savings on every remaining new 2025.
Do you have some Happy Honda Days specials?
Sure do, Charlie. For example, you can lease a new 2025 Accord Sport Hybrid for just $349 a month, and we have financing from just 0% APR. We've also included over 125 pre-owned of all makes and models, and as always, our certified pre-owns are in this sale as well.
Well, maybe it's time you experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Change begins with you. Join a weight loss medication study at Solarion and earn cash in the process. If you are 19 to 65 years old with excess weight to lose, you may qualify. Participants could earn up to $22,750 for their time. Study includes 1 2-night stay, 1 3-night stay, and 38 returns. Learn more at helpresearch.com/flamingo or call 866-213-2965. Weight loss not guaranteed.
The place you call home should always be a place of comfort. Warm and cozy in winter, cool and relaxing in summer. If your home isn't delivering the comfort you expect, call Bryant. It's more than just hot and cold to them. It's about providing the best comfort solutions. And Bryant gives you a full 24-month test drive on your home comfort system. Get full details at BryantLincoln.com or call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to Bock the Blackshirt, on air and online at theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Bock the Blackshirt here on 93.7 The Ticket. We're on 1040 O Street, and yes, we are on Monday through Friday from 1 to 3. Now, Bock, I was telling you about, we was talking about some things and what makes a great football team besides the coaching. I have a friend, Rashawn Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talk about each other, not behind our back, but we talk to each other in our face. We talk mean sometimes, but You know what we have? We have a brotherhood. A brotherhood of football players is better than a transfer team put together. Because when I talk about brotherhood, these are guys that's been together 1 or 2 or more years. You know that person inside out. At least you think you do. When you get these quick fix guys, Bob, they're only here for 6 months. Sometimes it's hard to put a team together like that when you don't know a guy best move or best blocking technique. I was fortunate to learn everything about every guy I played with 2 years. I learned I learned who was in front of me. I knew what his weak spots were. He knew what my weak spots were. It wasn't a battle between us. It was a battle to get on the field. And when I talk about this brotherhood, that's what we're missing more in college football now, because some teams can't get it right without being together a couple of years. It takes more. And when I say that, Bob, it's talking about like playing together. Now, John and Corley, Bob, what you think about that brotherhood part?
No, I think it's absolutely huge, like you said, and I think it's interesting when you kind of compare teams from the past to the current era. There's all sorts of different things. Less physicality kind of allowed at practice. for concussion safety, all that sort of stuff. But so there's a lot of that goes into it. But I think a lot of people from your generation would feel like those teams from today would struggle against the teams of the past, and part of that might be again because of those other things, but a big part of that's got to be sticking together and fighting through it. And I think there's kind of a middle ground in between that argument somewhere where like there are teams now that are winning in the current age, so it's not all and they're doing it with the transfer portal, with NIL, all that sort of stuff in play. So I don't always like the, hey, generationally, this is why we're losing when other teams are able to win, right? Within the same, structure that you're working against. But at the same time, too, how much turnover do those top teams have? And so it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to kind of get there. But once you're one of those top teams, and I think you're going to have a lot less, not just turnover, but like impactful turnover. Like, sure, there's going to be a handful of guys that leave Ohio State and Georgia every year, but usually that's so they can go play, right? And so they're not integral parts of the team. The turnover that those programs have more often than not is guys going to the pros, right? And so that's something that's always kind of been built in. But to me, and that's why I think there is a little bit, and certainly fans feel a little bit alienated in the modern age. Having to learn new rosters, new guys every few months. But for teams too, and I think that's kind of the concern, I think, for some Nebraska fans this year is, and I think there's a good middle ground in that too, because there's a large majority, the majority of Nebraska football from last year is coming back, and that's why I think Matt Rule says this isn't a retooling or anything, reset, anything like that. But at the same time, it is just so much change, not just in the coaching staff, but the players Nebraska is going to primarily depend on this upcoming year. And it gets to a point of like, okay, if you're making a decision and you're in the middle of a game and you've got to fight, in that brotherhood that you're kind of talking about, and kind of, when guys used to commit like their class, they would say, we want this class to be the one that restores Nebraska to order. We want to be the one that fixes it, all that sort of stuff. Now, I think if you get in a class, I don't think you believe half of the guys that you're in with right now will be here in 2 years. So again, if you're in the middle of a game and you've got some, kind of injury that's kind of popping up or something like that, are you going to fight 100% forward for your brothers that you expect to help to try to make the change and be part of that? Or do you think, well, I have no clue where I'm going to be in 2 years, much less the rest of this team. And so I think there is a huge part of that is missed and lost in the current structure, in the current age of less brotherhood. Now they're going to, combat that and say, we've got that. And we do team activities and all that sort of stuff, but it's just not the same as sticking around somewhere 4-5 years through thick and thin, through the ups and downs. That's what really creates a brotherhood, a bond.
Yeah, it's like me and your brotherhood.
Yeah,
I probably won't work with another producer. I only want to work with Bob. That's a brotherhood.
Right.
I like the other producers. I mean, if Bob goes out of town or be out one day, hey, I'll be happy to work with you. But Bob is my brother.
That's right.
So here's the thing. Bill and Bennett says, does brotherhood even mean the same today as it did back then? I don't think so. Because here's one thing that Coach Osborne told me, and he told all of us on his football team. He said, never take your pads off when you're out of the game. Cheer for that guy in the fourth quarter like that guy cheers for you in the first quarter. Have the same support for your brother that doesn't play a lot. When he gets in the game, cheer him on. That's brotherhood, Bob.
Yeah.
I got a friend that I haven't seen in probably 20 years, 25 years. I seen him at the university of the 1995 reunion. Mm-hmm. Guess what, Bob? He wasn't a starter. He didn't even play that much. But you knew what? He was my damn friend, Bob. Josh Cobbs. We used to call him Smut Dog.
Why'd you call him Smut Dog?
It's just we had nicknames for
That's
everybody.
Just his nickname, okay.
We had everybody. Mine was Relly Rail. His was Smut Dog. We had Pooh Bear for Jason Wiltz. Mm. We had Red D, Dave Reddick. We had Nick E-Nut for Eric. We just had a bunch of names. It was our clique though, Bob.
Yeah.
it was a clique that I hung with, and Josh Cobbs probably didn't play that much, but he came out, and he's probably the only player on scout team that I probably wouldn't punch because he was my friend.
Yeah.
The other ones, they was friends, but sometimes they did something wrong to get hit. But Josh Cobbs, he's a good friend of mine. Guy stayed on this team. He took more of hits than anybody you want to talk about. He took hits from Ed Stewart. He took hits from Jay Foreman. He took hits from Grant Wistrom, Christian Peters, and he got back up every day and came back to practice. Didn't complain, didn't do anything, but came to practice every day to work.
Now, in this conversation too, do you think like the Indiana of the world? I mean, because I wonder how many of those guys are going to leave that university for greener pastures, right? Well,
it ain't no greener
there's
pastures.
no greener pastures.
It's not.
But for more money, I suppose would say
it's still not. I wouldn't. We need to stop basing it. I don't think Kirk Cignetti runs his program off money. I think he goes get and like I said, here's what Johnny Cortland said. And this is probably the best thing Johnny Cortland said probably in 2 years of me being on the show. But he says, came in hot today, Mr. Farley. He said, Indiana looks better, playing for a natty, but Kirk Cignetti recruits differently than others. His guys come with lunch buckets and ready to roll. He's got a bunch of guys that's thirsty, Bob. He got a bunch of guys that's hungry, that's got something to prove. Look at their receiver. Not a 3-star recruit. Most of the guys he get now, Bach, are 2 or 3-star players, played in a system, learned how to play football at a higher level, and then they transfer. He's not going to get Ohio State guys. He's not going to get Michigan guys. He's going to James Madison. He's going to smaller schools, but TCU quarterback. I mean, he's not getting the best of the best, Bach. He's getting players like John said, with lunch pails and hard hats.
Yeah.
Blue collar workers.
That's been the amazing part of watching his transformation again and what's going on out there at Indiana is to your point. They're not the most top end type of guys as recruits, but he's developing them. And again, I can't wait to see now Indiana is kind of a destination, right? And so can you kind of get that same type of mentality from the 4 and 5 stars, or even in the transfer portal, the 4 and 5 stars that maybe feel a little bit more should be given to them, because it won't be there in Bloomington.
All right, 93.7 The Ticket. Bock in the Black Shirt. Spend some knowledge on you today, brotherhood, like me and Bock. 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
Change begins with you. Join a weight loss medication study at Solarion and earn cash in the process. If you are 19 to 65 years old with excess weight to lose, you may qualify. Participants could earn up to $22,750 for their time. Study includes 1 2-night stay, 1 3-night stay, and 38 returns. Learn more at helpresearch.com/flamingo or call 866-213-2965. Weight loss not guaranteed.
It's the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th at the Sandhills Global Event Center in Lincoln. Come see trophy deer, hunting seminars, hunting and outdoor exhibitors, a 3D archery tournament, enter the blind giveaway, and more. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate, January 16th, 17th, and 18th. Learn more at NebraskaDeerandGameExpo.com and find them on Facebook. Come to the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th in Lincoln.
Hi, Charlie Stone here, and it's that time of the year again. Time for the annual Happy Honda Days at Honda of Lincoln. With me on the line, Andy Goodyear, to tell us all about it.
The exciting news is we have more selection and more savings. We have over 400 new 2025 and 2026 Hondas to choose from. with a great opportunity to get year-end savings on every remaining new 2025.
Do you have some happy Honda Day specials?
Sure do, Charlie. For example, you can lease a new 2025 Accord Sport Hybrid for just $349 a month, and we have financing from just 0% APR. We've also included over 125 pre-owned of all makes and models. And as always, our certified pre-owns are in this sale as well.
Well, maybe it's time you experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The place you call home should always be a place of comfort. Warm and cozy in winter, cool and relaxing in summer. If your home isn't delivering the comfort you expect, call Bryant. It's more than just hot and cold to them. It's about providing the best comfort solutions. And Bryant gives you a full 24-month test drive on your home comfort system. Get full details at BryantLincoln.com or call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Bryant, whatever it takes.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com. Tired of your furnace running overtime this winter? Let Heartland of Nebraska Windows save the day. Upgrade to stunning, energy-saving triple-pane vinyl windows installed by their team of experts. Every window comes with a lifetime warranty on everything, all for a price you can actually afford. Free estimates, flawless replacements, and peace of mind from a family-owned business you can trust. Don't wait. Call Heartland of Nebraska Windows at 402-430-3852 or visit heartlandofnebraskawindows.com today.
You're listening to Bock the Blackshirt, on air and online at theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Bock The Blackshirt here on 93.7 The Ticket. We're down on 1040 O Street. If you ain't got nothing to do, come chill out. Listen to some podcasts. Listen to some radio. Drink you some coffee here at the mill. We're here most of the time, but hey, Bock, what's going on with Boston, Bock? How you feel with your basketball team, even without your star player? How they doing this year? I think they're in second place, aren't they?
Well, they're actually third place. They're half a game behind the Knicks, but 24-15. Very happy with what's going on there. And I say, they didn't have the best roster, obviously having to deal with that Tatum injury. Had to unload Porzingis and Drew Holiday and some of those guys. So it's really impressive what they've done compared to, and part of that again is who they were able to keep. Jaylen Brown has been able to shine through to show that he can be a number one guy that you can depend on. Derek White, leader, one of the leaders and has been the leader actually the last couple of years as far as guards getting blocks. Just a great team player. Peyton Pritchard going from a sixth man of the year now to playing a prominent role as a starter for the Celtics. So they had some pieces in place that could work there. I just say all that to compare that to, Tatum obviously going out was huge for him, but they've got more around him to kind of make it as the team, right? The Pacers lost Halliburton, and look where they're at.
Yeah,
they're at the bottom of the league.
9-32.
Yeah,
a team that went to the finals last year. Now look at them.
Yeah. So I mean, I definitely, and there was concern. The Celtics didn't start off this hot or as hot as they have, but they've been able to rebound. So while we're on it too, though, I did want to mention the Clippers, one of the hottest teams in the league after their awful start. Did not look good for Toronto. Of course, had to kind of chase CP3 out of town. But they're now just a half a game out of the play-in. Maybe not where you want to be, but a lot better than where they started. And again, they're on a 4-game winning streak, won 8 of the last 10. So good for Teron Lue. Kind of got that back on the right track. And because I was a little bit worried about his job security there to begin the season.
All right, Detroit 28-10 in the Eastern Conference. New York Knicks 25-15. Boston 24-15. Toronto 25-17, and Orlando Magic with the 6th spot at 22-18. Now we'll go to the Eastern Conference. Still the OKC Thunder, 34-7. Denver Nuggets 28-13. My Lakers 24-14. I can live with that. Lakers in 5.
There you go.
I still believe in that team. Clippers are just a disappointment. I mean, when you look at what they got, and they. Every year is the same thing with them.
Yeah, usually injuries come into play. But again, they started. I'd have to go back and look what their record.
They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They were winners of 4 straight. It doesn't say the other.
So they were 6-21 at one point in time. So that's
gives
you some context about where they've come from.
Yeah. All right, Bock. We just want to do a short little NBA before we go to break. You know, we got a little short clip right here, but let's go to break, and when we come back, Nebraska has a new DB coach. Nebraska has a new quarterback for 26 coming in. We'll talk about that more. Bock The Blackshirt, 93.7, The Ticket.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
It's the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th at the Sandhills Global Event Center in Lincoln. Come see trophy deer, hunting seminars, hunting and outdoor exhibitors, a 3D archery tournament, enter the blind giveaway, and more. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate, January 16th, 17th, and 18th. Learn more at NebraskaDeerandGameExpo.com and find them on Facebook. Come to the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th in Lincoln.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in December, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book your holiday parties at Double Eagle Golf and make plans to join them for a New Year's Eve party. Gift cards make a great stocking stuffer for Christmas, and don't forget to look ahead to 2026 as spring leagues begin in February. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Bock in the Blackshirt.
Terrell Farley, defending Terrell Farley, who last week in his first start was a holy terror, number 43.
And Jake Bockoven. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Powered by Bauer.
Welcome back to Bock the Blackshirt here on 93.7 The Ticket. Bock, we have a new defensive back coach. Not defensive back coach, but he's a safety coach.
Safeties coach, yeah. In addition to Addison Williams.
Adams Williams. He coached with Rob Ulrich at South Dakota. He was the co-defensive coordinator. And guess what, Bock? He's a former Hawkeye.
Well, there's a few of those guys hanging around there.
I know, man. I mean, if it's a rivalry like that, Bock, could you imagine a Husker going over to coach for the Hawkeyes?
I mean, I can see it happening again. It's a little bit different once you get to the coaching profession, and you got to do kind of what's best for yourself moving around. So, I mean, again, I think we can maybe forgive Miles Taylor as he comes to town for having played at Iowa. Unfortunately, though, I mean, Iowa has obviously had a pretty good run against Nebraska, 10 out of 11 now. And he was there for specifically just wins there. He was at Iowa from 2014 to 2017. I was trying to think the last time. So maybe 2014 Nebraska, Bo Pelini's final year did get the better of Iowa. So maybe he was on that team, I suppose. But for the most part, kind of working there from his playing days. But yeah, I mean, it's a bit different, but again, I think you can kind of drop that once they get to the coaching profession.
All right, Bob. He played at Iowa, like you said. He's a 4-year player, 4-year starter. Great stats. He was originally he was helping at the not San Diego, but the LA Chargers. He was helping. He was like a developmental coach there. Great pickup. I mean, I don't care where you come from as long as you can coach. I mean, you could be a Hawkeye or a Dog guy or a Buckeye, as long as you can coach and help this team get better. And Bob, you said something earlier about Matt Rule said it wasn't a what now?
He didn't like the term was it a reset. He didn't like the term reset.
Well, when you have you're probably going to have 1, 2. You're probably going to have 5, 6 starters, 6 new starters on offense. Probably 5 new starters on defense, or probably 6.
Yeah, and that can happen. I mean,
but they wasn't in the system though.
Yeah.
So I call that a rebuild.
Well, again, I think there's some sort of retooling, whatever word you want to use. It's definitely different, and it's moving off of a particular era. By the way, I mean, obviously Dylan Raiola and Emmett Johnson, that was kind of an era, if you will, just a couple years, but of Nebraska football, and so you combine that with a new offensive line coach, new defensive line coach, new defensive coordinator, now safeties coaches kind of being brought in. And potential change at special teams coach. There's a lot, there's a lot of change going on. You would prefer that to happen, obviously, again, as a team that, coming off 10, 11 wins and people are moving onward and upward, instead of a lot of the kind of these lateral moves or maybe could be perceived as that way. But it is a little bit of change to an identity in Nebraska's offense. When you bring in Anthony Calandria, he's going to be able to move the ball with his feet a little bit, give it a little bit more of a spark in the offense that way. And then obviously the defense, moving more to a 4-man front than a 3-man front. Again, they used a lot of 4-man front this past year, but a different defensive system. When you're doing all that, that's again, sounds like a little bit of a reset to me. If you don't want to call it that, it's fine. Again, I think there's arguments to the other side of it where I don't know what the total number is, but I would assume, more than 60, 70, guys from last year's team are going to be on this year's team and the same head coach and all that sort of stuff. So there are, offensive coordinators, there's reasons to believe it's not a if you're offended by the term reset, but I think I think that's probably a healthy enough way to look at it.
Yeah, you do, Bob. 0220 says, I'm a little concerned that we have a coach that's treating the assistant coaches like they're from a temp service in Indiana and Iowa. Both have stable coaching staffs, and it shows. A temp staff.
Well, again, we'll see. The Mike Eckler situation is kind of ongoing. I know Nebraska fans are hope to retain Mike Eckler. If you kind of missed it, Coach Matt Rule went on the Zach Gelb show and talked about that, how there has been an offer on the table for Coach Eckler to become one of the highest paid special teams coaches in the country, but USC is potentially looking at him and maybe going to give him a positional coach opportunity as well. So we'll kind of have to see how it plays out. I do feel like, and I don't know if it's completely fair, right? If we just 3 years through Matt Rule, you might not get much more of a term than that. I mean, Mike Riley had 3 years total at Nebraska. So, these tenures can kind of last shorter than what they once did, or certainly shorter what successful ones do. But do you feel, I got to feel pretty strongly at this point, having been through the 3-year cycle and seeing different guys kind of move in and out, that Matt Rule is only as strong as his coaching staff? Or close to it?
Oh, man. That's a good question, Bob.
I mean, we've seen him with coaching staff that didn't work out.
Matt Rule has a high turnover ratio on this coaching staff.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at only third year going into your fourth year, we've probably been through 10 coaches. Not your normal activity in a university. He's had guys that's been with him for years that go all the way back from Baylor to the NFL, but sometimes I wouldn't say coaches lose their itch. Sometimes that when you come to a rich program like Nebraska, some of those guys are still probably stuck in that temple phase of coaching, but you have to get your staff up to par, Bach, when we talk about great coaching staff. Nothing against these other coaches, but when you got a guy like Eckler who came in, was also known as a great linebacker coach, I think Matt Rule has to make an exception to keep him and make him a co-linebacker coach. I mean, that's the way I see it. That's the way what Eckler wants to do. He wants to coach a position. I mean, why not make him the special teams coach / linebacker coach?
Yeah, it's interesting, especially when we kind of talk about the addition of Miles Taylor again to be the safeties coach, is you're not held down to certain amount of positional coaches. I mean, you can hire anybody you want for whatever title you want. So
you let Phil Snow sit on the sideline for 2 years before he did something. So hey, what's the difference?
But I mean, you do once you're getting into specifically linebackers, you got Dvorak, Rob Dvorak there. You've got Roy Manning obviously coming in to help the new defensive coordinator as the edge specialist. You maybe could have looked at potentially for Eckler at the defensive line coach. They did, he doesn't have as much of a history, but he's a former defensive coordinator. So he's got a big history on the defensive side of the ball there. Of course, we know they went a different direction with Corey Brown. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it maybe could be something, something have been done or can be done. Maybe that's the ongoing conversation. Maybe Nebraska isn't just sitting on that contract that the contract offer that Matt Rule spoke on. Maybe they're listening or hearing from Mike Eckler and trying to make a move that makes it a little bit more enticing to come here. We'll see. It's definitely interesting, but I mean, that situation is never going to not be intriguing because it's just kind of the constant evolving, maybe, if you will, of Matt Rule at Nebraska. Remember when he came in, didn't want any celebrity coaches, staff on board. You eventually get to the point where you hire Dana Holgerson. I would definitely say that's kind of a celebrity hire. Not to mean it's not a bad hire. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, that's a name that people know. And Mike Eckler certainly fit into that case as well. I mean, Matt Rule admitted as much as that when they started the search for a special teams coordinator, that wasn't a name that they had on their radar. But as more they heard it from kind of Nebraska fans, looked into it, that it became tough to kind of look down that type of resume. And so it was obviously the right choice for Nebraska. We saw this past year in special teams, but you got to be able to either keep these guys around or pass that information on to the next up and coming coach, right? And hopefully that's been done. The other thing, though, as we looked at Matt Rule over the years, and I'm glad you brought up Phil Snow, is that his, when I say a coach is only as good as their coaching staff, and you see a lot of change happening there. It kind of depends on where you're looking at it from, right? If you have a strong, defensive coordinator that's been with you for 10 years and, kind of going back to Mark D'Antonio and Pat Narduzzi, or you kind of look at Kirk Ferentz right now and his defensive coordinator, Phil Parker, there's that strong bond that's been there that long time, and the continuity and all of that. And now you look at like Phil Snow is the example I was trying to use, is that Matt Rule, everything he got and earned on his way through the profession as a head coach to this point was with Phil Snow as his defensive coordinator. And of course, Satterfield, a couple other guys as his offensive coordinator. And so as we just kind of see this play out and he's having to make all these kind of different hires, it's less from his friends or people you kind of put in that his coaching tree and kind of going outside of that. It's a bit of a risk. And sometimes it's not going to work out. Sometimes the personalities are going to clash. I think obviously that something kind of was going along those lines with John Butler. So I think that the frustration, obviously, for Husker fans is you got to have this blind faith and optimism and hope that Matt Rule is making the right decision with these hires, but you have a little bit of doubt planted in your head because some of the hires this far have not gone right. Now, all that to be said, he could find his next Phil Snow. Maybe that's Rob Orridge. Maybe Dana Holgerson or the next special teams coach that he brings in that's going to help him for the next 15 years of his coaching. You hope that he can find one of those guys.
Fuck. Phil Snow coached one game here. In 2 years.
Yeah.
One game.
That's what I'm saying. But he was Matt Rule. He was Matt Rule's coaching defensive coordinator every spot on the way along here. And that was part of my initial concern is when he came here and picked out Tony White. And obviously that worked out great. So the initial concern, throw it to the side. Tony White was a great hire, but it was okay. What are we getting in Matt Rule? Well, usually part of what you get in Matt Rule was this defensive coordinator that's been along with him the whole time. Now you bring him in, and now you're going to leave it up to him to find somebody. And again, I think they did a great job, especially on that side of the ball with Tony White. But then now you're kind of bringing out these other problems. Right now, Tony White, lateral move to FSU, you could argue. And then you got the same thing here with Mike Eckler. The ones that are working out, the hires that are working out, are they leaving for lateral moves? Are they leading like why are they leaving? We need to keep those guys, retain the success that you're having in your program.
All right, Bach. Jim and Lincoln says Saban had a lot of turnovers on his coaching staff, but kept it going. Saban had an all-star coaching staff, first of all.
He did, but that's a perfect example of a coach that is not as good as his coaching staff, right? I mean, part of it is that he is, but it can be interchangeable. He's the reason at the top. These guys are kind of learning on him. There's no way if we see all these guys going through, by the way, if you're out there trying to hire a head coach, look for somebody off the Saban coaching tree because they've had so much success over the years. But he's the reason why they have success, right? As opposed to maybe a coach, and that's why I'm trying to get with Matt Rule. Is he the reason why the success is there, or was it the coaching staff that he had in place? And part of it has to be this, kind of together, all together, right? And obviously you don't get to where Matt Rule is today if he doesn't have a high level of obviously faith and or knowledge, all that sort of stuff on the football side of it. But yeah, I mean, Saban's the perfect example of the counter argument to that is you basically throw anybody on his coaching staff and they will be much better because of him.
It's how he ran his program.
Yeah.
I mean, we try to I'm not saying make Matt Rule a football guy because obviously they did it from the Baylor and the Temple movement, but I don't know, Bob. It's crazy. Isaac says, take away our love for Nebraska from the mix. Would you want to come in or remain in this if you had another comparable money offer? I don't think this is about money for Eckler. I think it's more of a position job.
Yeah.
Position jobs pay higher. I mean, I don't know what's the highest paid special team coach in college football, but, I mean, he's been a deep coordinator for a long time. He's been a linebacker coach for a long time. He just happened to do a couple of pit stops doing special teams, and he's a damn good special team coach. I mean, if Matt Rule thinks he can replace what Eckler done here in 1 year, I don't think a coach has the energy like Eckler do on his staff to take over like that.
Well, that's what again he said in the interview is that hopefully he's got the guys in house that could take care of that if they need to. And again, you hope that is true and that it did rub off on them. But to your point, I don't think you can kind of fake that. I mean, if you're you're on the outside, you don't naturally bring that energy. Some of the names that he mentioned, Josh Martin being one of them, is if you're not naturally that, you don't want to force that, right? So you got to do it as your true self, and it might bring a different type of element, as any new coach does, to the room. But hopefully they learned a lot of the basics. Again, Eckler not gone. We're not reporting that. It's still just kind of out there, kind of floating type of situation going on with Mike Eckler now. But if they do kind of move off of him, you hope that they can retain and take what they learned from him. The problem is that in all these guys have had, again, extensive careers in football. You don't get to where you are without not having a clue on special teams. So it's not, again, just base level knowledge, but Martin, a lot of these guys were on staff when Foley was in charge of special teams, and that was a disaster.
Yeah, it looked like you're going back to the Foley ages. But here's the thing, Bob. We've been knowing for months that Eckler wanted to be a position coach.
Yeah.
Is no reason to hide it. But here's the thing, Matt Rule. You got to make room for a guy like this. You got to. You can't be stubborn. You can't be that mule that don't want to move. You gotta get up to time, update yourself and update your timeline. But here's a guy that came in about 1 year, changed his whole philosophy in kicking game. You can repeat or copy what he did, but you don't have that enthusiasm. You don't have that hypeness that he has. You don't have that excitement that he brings to a special team. What coach you gonna get to jump around like him, Bob? What coach?
Well, again, if you do bring somebody in, better make sure they're naturally that way, because I don't think you can kind of fake it. To your point, the other thing is, and again, I agree with you. The amount of progress Nebraska made, it's not hypothetical. It's like you can see it. He made Nebraska football better last year. Might not have won, did lose games because of special teams 2 years ago. This past year might not have won some of those games because if you didn't have the special teams improvement from Eckler this past season. Is that I agree with you. You got to find a way to reward him. He is a guy that, again, has been a defensive coordinator, has coached linebackers. It's not like I'm talking about at Southeast High over here. He's coached linebackers at Nebraska initially. He's coached linebackers at USC, Georgia, North Carolina, Kansas, Tennessee.
He got more pro linebackers than Matt Rule probably got guys in the NFL.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I do know it. So I guess the point in totality is, did he not earn an opportunity to coach a position? I would say, you got to make your own decision with your staff and what you want to do. And one guy getting a promotion here might lead to somebody else leaving or getting demoted over here. And I get all that, but I think that's where Husker fans are going to struggle with the Mike Eckler move is, did he not earn a promotion? Like, it's one thing to give the raise, right? But it's another thing to get a promotion. And that's a very real reality I think a lot of people have. Like, sure, a raise can make you happy, but I don't think Mike Eckler's long-term goal is to be the best special teams coordinator. I mean, maybe it is. He's definitely got a natural talent to that, but his stops over the years would tell you he likes to be a position coach. There's only been, of all his different special teams coordinating spots, at Georgia, he's the inside linebackers coach as well as special teams. At Kansas, he's inside linebacker coach as well as special teams. Did have a stop at North Texas where he was just a special teams coach. At Tennessee, where he was previously outside linebackers coach and special teams. And I think it would be frustrating, specifically if you have all that experience and you look at the linebacker unit or look at the front seven, whatever it might be, where you think that you can help more there and you don't get the opportunity to, right? And so he probably wants to be able to prove his worth there, but we'll see. I mean, again, all this is a little bit of speculation that was opened up by Matt Rule, openly talking about it.
Said it himself.
So, it opens us up all to kind of talk about it and we'll see where it lands. But right now, obviously, and the way that I read it with the conversation he had, and he said, welcome back, love for him to be a Husker, is that it would appear to me, and it's tough to read because Matt Rule will go on talk shows and all this different stuff, but it would appear like he's jumping in front of the conversation of basically the expectation that if he leaves. Yeah.
we don't know what Matt Rule we got. We don't know if we got the backwards hat Matt Rule or we got the coach we hired Matt Rule. I don't know, Bob. It's all confusing me. Let's go to break, and when we come back, we'll read some of these text messages that there's a lot of them that came in. We're going to read them all here on Bock the Blackshirt, 93.7 The Ticket. We are powered
by
Bauer,
Infrastructure,
Bauer,
Underground,
Barrett,
Excavating.
Shout out to the Bauer crews out there working hard throughout the Lincoln and Omaha areas. We'll be right back.
This is your year to win way more than bragging rights. At Warhorse Casino, your love of the game could earn you serious cash. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with cash prizes all season long, like up to $1,000 weekly, with your chance at $1 million, all while earning tier points and comp points every time you place a sports bet. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting lincolnteammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Husker Nation, the countdown is on for the biggest women's basketball event of the year, PAC PBA, coming up January 24th. This year, we're heating things up with the Big Red Beach Party. Watch your Huskers take on Big Ten opponent Illinois, decked out in your best tropical gear, with a specialty tropical drink in hand, all inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. PAC PBA is your tropical getaway right here in Lincoln. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/PACPBA.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with a bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at KoppelCars.com. Stock numbers G138852 and G165184, 2,500 down with proof credit.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2. Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, a few sprinkles possible this afternoon. Otherwise, probably sunny and breezy. The high near 48. Tonight, mainly cloudy, a continued breeze, a low around 30. And tomorrow, a chance of snow, otherwise mainly cloudy. It'll be windy and colder, a high near 36. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fleck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in December, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book your holiday parties at Double Eagle Golf and make plans to join them for a New Year's Eve party. Gift cards make a great stocking stuffer for Christmas, and don't forget to look ahead to 2026 as spring leagues begin in February. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to Bock the Blackshirt, on air and online at theticketfm.com.
We're back here on Bock The Blackshirt on 93.7 The Ticket. Thanks for joining us. We got a few more segments here. Just left off talking about the hottest topic in Nebraska football, which is basically the Mike Eckler situation. I can tell it's the hottest topic because we got plenty of response here on the text line. And as usual, as we have these conversations, want to give you guys a voice and opportunity to talk about it as well. 1562 says, anyone who feels that this program is going in the right direction has already drowned in the bathtub of Kool-Aid. There's zero sign of progress. Doesn't matter what Rule does or anyone else. The problem with the program has been for 20 plus years is the fan base that keeps showing up for a loser program that doesn't show up to games themselves half the time. Until the fans figure that out and stop showing up and force the team to earn back the fan support, the program will continue to be a loser. He predicts 3 wins next year, and that will probably be the death nail that we will never come back from. So that's the opposite of Kool-Aid. But I get it. And I do see that text from time to time. There's a growing, group, but obviously as the years go on and you get more into kind of the struggles. Now, again, Nebraska for Matt Rule and what he said and defending him a little bit has turned the tide at least, from the Scott Frost, Mike Riley era into, kind of this middling program trail. You said it earlier, maybe kind of 10th, somewhere around there in the Big Ten. So it is interesting.
+2, Bock.
Oh, 10, so 12 maybe.
+2. I mean, if you go off Scott Frost, he's a +2 more than Scott Frost. Scott Frost's best season was a 5-7.
That's his best season, yeah.
Best +2. We're 7-7, 7-6, 2 years back to back. Not saying that it's bad, but it's not great.
No,
I mean it's average. It's still below average, but we've bought into what Matt Rule was telling us, and right now we're not getting 100% back pay when you buy into stuff like that. But when you buy into programs, and I always bought into what Coach Osborne said because he was a smart man. And like I said, I'm sick of talking about the 90s too, but we got teams that never done it before that's doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
How can we not be in the mix? What's so bad about Nebraska right now that we can't get it together?
What do you think? Any of it is the texter that put it on? I know you missed a little bit of that, but kind of saying, fans consistently show up or fans being there regardless. The problem is it the facilities we talked about earlier? When you come to campus, you already feel like you had it made. Should there be more?
They're living off names that Nebraska name carries itself.
Yeah.
And for most of them, these players don't understand. I mean, they see that thing outside the stadium that says 70, 71. Oh, that's ancient time. Nebraska ain't been nothing in ancient years. Well, Nebraska worked so hard during those ancient years to get this program from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to a little bit in the 2000s, we lost our mustard because of the softness of college football, not just at Nebraska, but the whole college football thing is soft now. I mean, the way we treat the kids, the way we pay the kids, the way the kids get the transfer. I mean, just really just, I'd be like cousin neighbor Jake. The ship is sinking.
Mm.
And we got plastic cups trying to throw the water out. Well, we just need to hop in another boat, Bob.
Well, again, it could be, and that's where a lot of people feel. And I think that's where the offseason has kind of brought you. In part of it, you could look again. Welcome all newcomers to the Nebraska football program, be the coach or the transfer portal, or certainly the high school kids coming in, and they should be celebrated. And there should be hope with them moving along. But I've kind of said it from the beginning, and it's frustrating. But it is what it is. Your play on the field is going to kind of ultimately provide how people feel about the program and the direction of the program. And when you end a season with zero momentum, and in fact, the opposite, getting stuck 3 different times, blowout games and blowout performances, it's going to be hard to kind of get that going. So I do think, as we go through the text line and over time, it happens every offseason, you'll be able to convince me we can win 9 games. No, not me personally, but in general, I think people will get to that type of talk. But I do think it is going to be a harder path to get that Kool-Aid running a little bit more this season. And again, that's based on just results we've seen on the field. The most recent results that we've seen on the field have not been good for Nebraska football. There are elements of it that can be and maybe spun in a good direction to make you think this is going in the right direction. Yes, and maybe through all of it, sometimes the darkest is the darkest before the dawn. It's like they say, Nebraska basketball last year, if you remember, the last time they lost was the 5th of a 5-game losing streak that kicked them out of the Big Ten tournament, and then they weren't going to make the NCAA tournament. They have not lost since then, so it can sometimes be dark before the dawn, and maybe you don't see it, and hopefully that's where Nebraska football is. But I think most people are now, and of course going into year 4, kind of in a prove it to me phase. And again, shout out to the progress that has been made to go from a losing program to now a winning program, be it marginally. But obviously Matt Rule knows, and he said before, that's not the goal. The goal is not to go 7-6 here.
Yeah, I think so, Buck. Hold on. What happens if we only win 3-4 games next year, Buck? Your opinion. Give me your opinion.
Well, I mean, that's a dire situation. I think I know you just redid that contract, re-signed the contract, but that's not going to get it done here. I mean, I think you would move off the coach, and I don't think that's going to happen. But I mean, if you throw that out there, that's what would happen. I don't, Scott Frost was able to stick around after a 3-win campaign. So maybe if you got the greatest 3-9 team again, but I don't think that's. Hopefully Nebraska's learned from that mistake. In teams in general, it's hard now. Again, and Matt Rule said it too, kind of pointing back to Hoiberg, is there had to be enough patience through Hoiberg's first several seasons to get to where you are now. But you just can't sit around and wait in college football for a program that's not not producing high enough. I mean, we see it. I mean, college. I mean, look where James Franklin, Nebraska's been there. The Frank Soldiers and the Bo Pelini firings is. There's going to be less patience for that. So, I mean, in my mind, what happens if that happens is you're going to be out looking for another coach. But I don't think you're going to get to a 3 or 4 win campaign next year.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I hope, man, and this is all going to come down to the AD and see how he feels about things. If he's truly a Nebraska guy and not a Matt Rule guy, then he has to put football first. I mean, it's nice to have a great relationships with ADs, but at the same time, he has to do what's best for this university instead of doing what's best for the football team.
Well, and it's interesting with him too. Obviously, he didn't hire Matt Rule. Would he be the one making the next decision? Again, I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse. You don't have to worry about that, right? So, but obviously, again, going through the Phantom situation is it would be interesting how that played out, but. Nebraska football deserves a lot more than 3 or 4 wins. It obviously deserves more. The fans deserve a lot more than what's been given to them in the last 10 years, I should say. And so, I don't think stepping back from where they are now is much of an option. It might look different, but there's going to be, as in any season, it's going to be a roller coaster ride. It might look like it's heading that way at a certain time. And again, it's just frustrating to where you leave off and it hurts. It hurts the momentum. It hurts the kind of the talking heads, but it's fun. I always love the idea too, that we have going into a season. We know the top 10 teams are. You're an idiot if you rank anybody lower than this or that. And then the season hits and we see, Florida State, even week 1, right? Florida State's back. This is going to be a championship contender.
Oh, they beat Alabama.
Right. And Alabama's buried. There's no way Kalen DeBoer deserves that, and so we might have gotten back to that point by the time the playoffs happened, but they made the playoffs. So a lot of this you just got to play out. But again, the thing about the college football season ending, there's the finality to it. And so for the next several months, we get to hear about whatever was left off from that point. And unless you make, crazy different strides or make, some big changes in the offseason that bring that in, you're not going to have a whole lot of Kool-Aid added to it. And so, again, where Nebraska left off leaves a lot of room and a lot of ammunition for doubters.
How much... Bock, who put this in our head last year that Nebraska was a 10-2 team? Where did this come from? I mean, what did they put in the Kool-Aid to have you thinking that, or anybody thinking that this was a 10-2 team?
Again, I think part of it is part of the. I think part of the problem too is you're looking at a weak schedule. That's what a lot of people's argument. The national argument, I suppose, would be that. Another big part of that argument was Dylan Raiola going from year 1 to year 2. You're supposed to take your biggest strides. And I think he took a stride. Obviously, the season didn't go as Nebraska or Dylan Raiola had planned. And so I think that was a big part of it. And he also expected, I don't think anybody expected Emmett Johnson to take the stride that he did, but you felt in good hands there. They had a heavy, a really good, highly rated transfer portal class coming in. But the thing is that Nebraska, you're always going to be able to probably argue the logo, and just the program, the facility. I mean, I know you're not big on facilities, but everything that goes into the program should give Nebraska an advantage in many of these games. And it just has come up short year after year after year. And so, part of the reason why Nebraska fans or fans out there thought Nebraska could get to 9 wins is maybe this would be the year you win a game or two that doesn't have to be the biggest game in the world. Not even the Michigans or the USCs, like people were counting out the Penn State win from the beginning, but maybe you could take care of Minnesota or Iowa one of these days. Neither of those things happened, right? So Nebraska at 7 wins wasn't, in win total, wasn't all that far off from the 9-win hope. And I think you're going to kind of get that going in next year too, where you're going to look at all those teams, and we've talked about them before, the Oregons, the Ohio State, everybody that's on the schedule next year, even Illinois, Iowa, that you throw out there and say those games are going to be hard, but you've got Rutgers on the schedule next year, and everybody's going to say, well, there's a W. Okay, where's the W's? Has Nebraska earned that? Is Nebraska definitely going to beat Rutgers next year? I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, you're right, Bob. It's crazy. It's crazy world of college football, Bob, when we talk about it. I hope we can get back one day, Bob. I do. Like I said, man, I'm gonna always support Nebraska football to the day I die. But I also want to see us win, though.
Yeah.
I mean, so I have somewhat faith in Matt Rule, but even with the schedule this year, I mean, it might have to wait till 27. I don't know if I can wait till 27. We have to see what we do in 26 first.
Well, there's nothing we can really do about it. It'll be that way one way or the other.
All right, 93.7 The Ticket. Last segment coming up before we give way to Austin Allman and Jay Foreman for Old School. Bock the Blackshirt will be right back.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with the bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G138852 and G165184. 2,500 down with proof credit.
This is your year to win way more than bragging rights. At Warhorse Casino, your love of the game could earn you serious cash. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with cash prizes all season long, like up to $1,000 weekly, with your chance at $1 million, all while earning tier points and comp points every time you place a sports bet. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in December, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book your holiday parties at Double Eagle Golf and make plans to join them for a New Year's Eve party. Gift cards make a great stocking stuffer for Christmas, and don't forget to look ahead to 2026 as spring leagues begin in February. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Husker Nation, the countdown is on for the biggest women's basketball event of the year, PAC PBA, coming up January 24th. This year, we're heating things up with the Big Red Beach Party. Watch your Huskers take on Big Ten opponent Illinois, decked out in your best tropical gear, with a specialty tropical drink in hand, all inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. PAC PBA is your tropical getaway right here in Lincoln. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/PACPBA.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. Hog Wild has a delicious way for you to enjoy beef brisket. It's our open-faced hot beef sandwich. We start with our grilled Texas toast. Add a scoop of creamy mashed potatoes. Load them up with some tender Hog Wild beef brisket and top it off with our tasty brown gravy. It's absolutely delicious. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
It's the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th at the Sandhills Global Event Center in Lincoln. Come see trophy deer, hunting seminars, hunting and outdoor exhibitors, a 3D archery tournament, enter the blind giveaway, and more. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate, January 16th, 17th, and 18th. Learn more at nebraskadeerandgameexpo.com and find them on Facebook. Come to the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th in Lincoln.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
You're listening to Bock the Blackshirt, on air and online at theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Bock The Blackshirt here on 93.7 The Ticket. Man, it's going crazy down there in Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss just lost their star linebacker due to NIL contracts getting leaked, Bock. Some say that the younger guys was making more than the older guys. I don't like that one bit. I don't like it one bit. When you got guys coming in making, I think it should be a base. Here's what I want to say, Bock. I think it should be a base pay for freshmen, a base pay for sophomores, a base pay for seniors and juniors. You shouldn't have to go, oh, well, come here and I'll give you $5 million.
Well, I mean, it can be. Again, the problem with that is if you're competing against a school that does say, hey, come here and I'll give you $5 million, you're probably not going to get that recruit. So I get it, though, and I think there are more teams kind of going into structured payments to fill out the entire roster, right? And that isn't just – but it's not just, hey, are you a freshman or are you a sophomore? It's, what position do you play? Some of those things can kind of factor in there as well. But yeah, I mean, the ugliest thing that can happen for any workplace is for somebody to get a hold of the sheet of what everybody's getting paid. And apparently that's happened at Ole Miss. Was Lane Kiffin part of it? We don't know. No, there's no reports of that.
He could be the corporate. You don't know what Lane Kiffin is capable of doing.
Or at least the Lane Kiffin supporter, maybe, put it that way. But no, I don't know if that's the case or not. But it is bad news when the players kind of get a hold of that and kind of see the differences. And that's something that I think has been an adjustment to this portal era for everybody. I mean, I've heard a little bit too about, some of that kind of coming on at Nebraska and just in general in college football is that the transfer portal players, and you ask why, they're getting all the attention and it's kind of the bidding war and all that sort of stuff. And why I've continued to say, might not be a bad option if you're kind of looking for some life-changing money or to get paid a fair market value is to be in the market. If you're not, then you're just kind of accepting what they give you. And so I think that's kind of been a thing that's happened on many teams is a lot of the newer assets or the new additions to the team, not necessarily from the freshman class, but from the transfer portal, you're willing to overpay for some of those things because you need that. Whereas, a guy that's just going to stay loyal and maybe not ask for a whole lot more is good in his spot till he sees what everybody else is making.
Yeah. Anything from you, Bock, before we get out of here for the day? Oh, and by the way, Bock, I don't know what I did to get banned from Call of Duty, but it's past the due date, and I'm back on the mic now. So I've been banned for like 2-3 weeks. I don't know why.
Well, I did want to mention a few things. I don't know why you're banned either, so I can't help you out there. But
whoa!
Did you see something?
They say Oregon is paying Dante Moore 7.5.
Yeah, that is the report, which is crazy. I mean, we talked about it briefly, but it's such a good win for college football. I should be happy, but it's just crazy to look at the math and to see how that could be comparable. I don't know how much Dylan's making there, but I think all in total they've probably got a pretty penny there. And good thing they've got some Nike money, as we always talk about with Oregon. Nebraska, speaking of quarterbacks, did pick up a 3-star quarterback the other day in Tanner Vibable, 2026 quarterback from Las Vegas, 6'1", 175 pounds, was on his official visit last weekend. Now this is interesting. Obviously the fourth quarterback, scholarship quarterback in the room. Obviously Daniel Kalen entered the room this past in the past week. Anthony Calandria, and then of course TJ Lateef standing there. Now Vibable joins the group as well. offers from Army, Arkansas State, Temple, and Air Force might not wow you with the comparable offers, but certainly a similar build, and he's a dual threat quarterback, kind of a Anthony Calandra maybe of the future or junior, whatever way you kind of want to look at it. An opportunity there. And again, I don't expect him to necessarily play next year or factor in a whole lot, but it is good to get more guys in that room and somebody that they feel like they have upside with, a guy that they feel like maybe could fit into the system. Also like the fact that now Nebraska, it seems like, along with Calandra and now Vivable has made something out of taking that bowl trip to Las Vegas. I know Nebraska didn't win, but apparently the connection started with the bowl trip there. So I think that's kind of interesting too. Again, not necessarily a name that's going to help Nebraska win right away, but with that kind of fourth quarterback spot, for the scholarship for that room, fourth scholarship quarterback spot, I think he's a good prospect with some upside.
All right, Bock, anything else you got, Bock?
Well, the final thing is it looks more and more like the Giants are going to be settling on the first NFL hire of the offseason with John Harbaugh. Now, remember, John Harbaugh basically, instead of other teams, the teams vetting him and seeing if he's worth a fit, is basically vetting all these other teams. He interviewed with the Falcons on Monday, had plans to visit with the Titans, but it looks like the communication with the Giants is coming down to it as probably his landing spot. Giants, of course, have gone 7-27 the last 2 years, so that's the downside. But there is upside with them. The young nucleus, Jackson Dart at quarterback, of course, Cam Scadaboo out of the backfield. They got good draft capital coming up and plenty of cap room to work with. So if we're looking for the spot for John Harbaugh to land, that looks to be it.
I guess we'll try Mike Tomlin. We'll have to go try to run and get him. But I was thinking about Harbaugh, but I thought that was a good place for Atlanta to try to get a good card, but I guess the Giants look better on paper for him.
Final story here, quick. I wanted you to react to Nebraska Wesleyan new head coach Jacob Donahue has named 22-year-old Brandon Bear Earp as his defensive coordinator. Had previous experience as a linebacker coach for Tyler Junior College last season. But how about that? 22 years old defensive coordinator for Nebraska Wesleyan.
Could have gave Kenny Wilhite that job.
That could have, yeah.
Yeah, 22-year-old
defensive coordinator. That going to be tough for the kids in the locker room to listen to, or maybe he'll understand what their struggles a little bit more, being so close to age.
No, let's just see if he's here next year, Bock. That's probably the only thing I have to say about that.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
You got guys like Jay Foreman sitting in here, Kenny Wilhite. But people have their own crew they want.
Yeah.
93.7 the ticket. Bock in the black shirt. Old man Jay Foreman and Austin Orman up next. Old school.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild has a delicious way for you to enjoy beef brisket. It's our open-faced hot beef sandwich. We start with our grilled Texas toast. Add a scoop of creamy mashed potatoes. Load them up with some tender Hog Wild beef brisket. And top it off with our tasty brown gravy. It's absolutely delicious. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197. Husker Nation, the countdown is on for the biggest women's basketball event